What's up, guys? Welcome back to GoHamDiscGolf. I'm Big John. This is going to be the review for the Innova Tern, the disc that just came out recently. If I could hold it up right side up. But yeah, this is going to be the review for the Innova Tern. It's it's a max distance driver, but I wouldn't put it up there with a boss as far as how far people can bomb it. But I'll get to that in a second. I just want to remind you guys real quick about the current giveaway going on, and that's for the SkyQuest Medusa with the Infinite Disc stamp on it. If you have not entered into this giveaway, make sure you do enter. There will be an annotation at the end of this video where you can just click on it and go straight to that video and enter from there. So let's get straight into this, guys. The first thing I want to mention, and I've been talking so much about this, is the plastic that this is made out of. The Tern and the Rock 3 were the first two releases from Innova that had this plastic. And in the 2013 catalog from Innova, they said that this was like a Jolly Rancher plastic. And I said it before, 100% agree with that. It looks like it's made out of a Jolly Rancher candy. It's a great feel. It's super grippy, it's gummy, but it's shiny, and it looks like it's supposed to be slick. So they did a real good job with this. Very cool. I love the plastic. Innova, please make a katana and a Valkyrie in this plastic. Oh my god, I love it. Now, as far as the flight path of this disc, big thank you to Inbounds for letting me use their flight charts, and I'll put that up right here. You can see what Inbounds has put together to show you what you can almost, expect the Tern to fly as. Now, of course, that's not going to be how it flies for you every single time. That's not going to be for everybody, but that's the intended flight path. Now, I went out and I threw this guy a whole bunch. And the number one thing that I can say about this disc is that it will glide for days. It's got a ton of glide on it, and that goes back to my general feelings about the dominess of a disc. I know this isn't 100% about every single disc that has a dome to it, but in my opinion and in my experience, I've seen that a disc with more of a dome is much more glidey than one that's more of a flat top, something like a Flick or a Firebird that's just completely flat. But yeah, glides for days. Now, it lives up to its name. It's a Tern. If I rip the mess out of this disc on a flat release, it will turn over to the right and I'll lose all kinds of accuracy. But one way for me to combat that is hyzer flipping this disc. And it's the same thing I do with a Nuke SS. Now that I've kind of outgrown a Nuke SS and moved on to Nukes and Halos, before I used to throw a Nuke SS, and once I started throwing it correctly with not as much arm speed, it would fly straight as heck and then fade off at the end. Now that I've kind of grown out of it a little bit and been able to put more torque on the disc, the Nuke SS will flop over hard. Now the Tern is doing the same thing for me. Like I said, if I release it on a flat, a flat plane, it'll turn over. But if I release it at an angle kind of like that, it'll pop up, keep its straight flight path, and then start to fade at the end. Or if I don't put so much on it, it'll give me a really big, nice S-curve. But at that point, if I'm getting that kind of flight path out of it, I need a lot of room, guys, because it will come over hard to the right and then start fading back. So think about that. If you've got a big arm or you have a lot of wrist snap or you're able to put a lot of torque on a disc, if you pick up a Tern, if you're not going to compensate for that with a hyzer flip, it's going to turn over hard to the right for you. But it is a really good disc. As far as holding lines, putting this on a hyzer line, if you put a lot of torque on it, like I just talked about, if you put this on a hyzer line, it's going to flip up and go straight. If you put a ton of hyzer on it, it's going to pop up and it's just going to glide for days. Now, I wouldn't use this disc for your big, hyzer bombs because it's not overstable enough for that at all. But on the flip side, if you're using this for an anhyzer, if you pull back your speed, put it on a nice anhyzer line, it's going to flatten out and glide down for you. It's not going to have a lot of turn on it, but it is going to follow that line and it's going to glide down to hopefully where you want it to go. And the last thing I'll mention about it is the grip of it. When I hold this thing in a power grip, it feels really good in my hand. Coming out with the rip at the end of a backhand, it also felt really good. One of the things about Innova that I've noticed a lot is that their rim right here normally has, or not normally, but a lot of times you'll find a very, very rough or sharp edge right there on the rim, and I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that too. And there's nothing like that on this disc. And that might be because of the mold of the Tern. Maybe the Tern just doesn't have that, or maybe it's because of the plastic type. because it feels really good right there. It rips out of the hand extremely well, but it doesn't give you any kind of pain coming out. It just feels like a clean release, which is something I love. Now, as far as forehands, tomahawks, and thumbers, with a thumber, it felt really good coming out and it turned really well, but it needed a lot of room to do that. So it might not be good for those tight wooded spaces that you normally go for thumbers and tomahawks. And the same thing for a tomahawk. It felt really good coming out, but again, it needed a lot of room to work. And that's probably because it's understable. For me, overstable discs work best for me when throwing tomahawks and thumbers. That might be just because of me, but that's what I'm used to throwing, and that's what I used to expect. But for this guy, it just seems like it needs a lot of room to do what it's going to do for thumbers and tomahawks. Now, for forehand shots, it felt really good coming out, but I wasn't able to get too consistent with it. And that's just because I'm not a predominantly forehand thrower. I don't consider myself to be good at all with that. Normally, and you guys know, I only use my forehand shots for getting out of trouble and for really hard turning forehand hyzers that I need to cut super hard. So I couldn't get it to do what I wanted on the forehand, but that does not mean this disc doesn't do it well. You probably give this to somebody that throws forehand all the time and they can do magic with this disc. So overall, I think it's a really good disc. I would definitely recommend this to somebody new, somebody looking for some distance and that doesn't have too much arm speed, because they'll probably get a very straight to a slight S curve out of it. But I think you might end up growing out of it pretty soon, and it will turn into your hyzer flip disc or your long range anhyzer disc. But that's my thoughts on the Tern, guys. It's really great. I can't stop singing the praises of this plastic. It just feels so good. I wish I had every disc in my bag made out of this plastic. Love it. So that's going to be it for today, guys. If you're thinking about checking out a Tern, go ahead and check it out. I think it's worth looking at. It's a good disc. Feels really good. Very consistent when it comes to backhands. You know what's going to come out of this once you throw it a few times. So that's it, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully with the Gateway SSS Wizard review. So don't forget to go ham.